Hello friends, in this video I will be talking about digital differential algorithm, which is one of the popular line generating algorithm. Before we jump into the coding part, let me run the program to show you how the thing is going to work. And here comes my two interface, one for giving input and one for taking output. I start with the 200 column, so 200 column as starting and 100 row as starting, and it ends up with 150 column and 150 row. So that I have given a small range over here so that you can see the line in much faster, and the same time you will be able to see the calculation that is taking place at this particular interface. I will be telling you all these values, how these values are getting generated. Don't worry about its length, they are pretty long enough, I can understand. Once this particular line stops, then we will start into the coding part, and slowly you can see the line getting generated, and here comes the end of the line. So let me now get into the program. And here comes the initial thing. As we have stated that our x start and y start is 200 column 100 row, and x end and y end is 150 row column and 150 row. So here xe minus xs, so 150 minus 200 has given the dx as minus 50, whereas 150 minus 100 has given a dy as 50. So these two variables are initialized right over here. There are a few other variable like step which is not been initialized, and over here x increment and y increment yet to be initialized. But there is two more variable, that is x and y is been initialized with x start, that is 200. So x is having a value of 200, whereas y is having a value of 100. So these two variables will later on, as the program goes, will be in the iteration part, and then they will be decremented or incremented as to generate the entire line which we saw over here. Okay. So this line has to be generated, and for that there need to be an adjustment of the column and row, and for that purpose x and y will be used over here. So we already saw these two values. So minus 50 and 50 is stored in respectively in dx and dy. Now we are going for storing the step value over here, and for that we have made use of the absolute function. So absolute dx is minus 50 is not at all greater than absolute dy, which is 50. So obviously dy is having the value of 50 will be stored inside the step, and the reason the step value is 50. Okay, now we have gone for the x increment and y increment, and for that what we have done, dx is having a value of minus 50 and step is having a value of 50. So minus 50 divided by 50 is minus 1. In the same way, dx dy is having a value of 50 and step is having a value of 50. So it's 50 divided by 50 is having a value of 1. So x increment is going to have a minus 1 and y increment is going to have just 1. So these two variables will be used to reduce the row and the column, or column and the row respectively. Okay, here comes the initial plotting of the first pixel, you can say, and then we land up into the iteration part, and this is the iteration which is responsible for generating the entire line that we can see over here. So how we are doing it, and this particular iteration will continue to up to step, the step is 50. So you can see that the iteration will run till we reach the target of 50. And each time we are doing that, we are making some kind of adjustment. So let's see, x equals to x plus x in. What is the value of x? X has been initialized with 200, as you can see over here. So x is having 200, and I wrote in the command line plus, so I wrote the plus. X increment is minus 1, so minus 1. So that means 200 minus 1 makes it 199. And you can understand that this is a floating point variable, and that's the reason this is one of the drawback of DD algorithm is it implements floating point representation, and this is the reason why the Bresengham algorithm got framed. Okay, so the variable x initially stores 199.6 place decimal. This is the set precision that will need to be implemented in order to remove this, and because of that we have to make use of the round function. The round function will remove this particular floating point representation, and that is what one of the, again, a second drawback of DD algorithm. So what if I am not passing the round function? This is one of the function which I have designed. It's a macro level function. It comes over. Let's see this particular printf statement to understand. So this is the x plus x increment. This is what I have done to make you understand, and the raw value of x I am putting it over here. So this is the x that is there, and with the floating point number you can get it. So 200 minus 1 is 199. In the same way, y plus y increment is having a value of 100 and 1. So x increment was having a value of 1 over here. So 100 becomes 100 plus 1 makes it 101. So this is 101. So we cannot plot this particular floating point into the graph, but before that we have to convert it into the round off function. So here comes the round off function. So the round off function will pop me over here to the macro level, and this is the where the value has been added with 0.5. so as a result, what happens? So if we add 199.5, that means the whole number we are getting the whole number over here. Similarly, 101 is added with 0.5, we are getting another whole number over here. So this 199 and this 101 will now be plotted respectively in the screen. So here the plotting is taking place. So the round off function will plot 199 and 101, and then it will generate the pixel which is white in color. So this will plot the first, after the first pixel, the second pixel will plot it again. The iteration will go up, and the initial step 1 was 0, then it will come k2, it will be k1, and then it will come back once again, and the value of 199 will now be 199 plus again minus 1 will be resulting in 198, and same thing will come over here. So 198 in the floating point, and then it will come over here, that is 101 plus 1 makes it 102, that is also floating point, which again pass to the round off function to make it 198 and 102 respectively, so that it can be plotted. So in this way, the column part, the column, just see the output, the column part is getting decremented. So the column was 200 and slowly it came to the column 150, and similarly the row got incremented, which was 100, and finally it came to 150 as well. So that means from this program we can understand that as we are moving this side, it is the column that is getting decremented while the row is getting incremented. But if we have generated the line on the other way around, then the thing would have been reversed. So let me show you that as well. So for that, what I will do is, now I will plot 100 as column and 200 as row, and now I will generate the column comparatively bigger than the first one, and let's go with 250 as row. Now see, the output is getting in the reverse direction. See, over here it is 101, so it is generating, so it is incrementing, as well as the row is also incrementing, because there has been increase in both the column. This is the column size that got incremented, as well as the row also got incremented. So the incrementation is taking place this time, no decrementation is taking place. Okay, so that means what? Because increment value is also x increment, that is the column, is also 1, and the y increment, that is the row, that is also 1. As a result, both the variable respectively got incremented, and this is the floating point, and this is the round off value that we saw, and because of which the output came like this. So we always know that DDA comes with two main drawback, that is involve the floating point representation. You got a clear idea what it is, and before it is been plotted in the graph, you need to make a round off on that, and this is the round off value that we are seeing, and then only the pixel can be generated. So keeping these two drawback in our mind, and hopefully the program is clear for you all, we will sign off from here. Until my next video, have a nice time.